Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to team training for the Oklahoma Housing Needs Assessment. This video is by popular request. So far, the videos have used ArcMap 10.8 for all of the demonstrations. And come to find out, ArcMap is going to be phased out, and not until 2026, but it's coming. And everything's being moved over to ArcGIS Pro. So this video is sort of an introduction to ArcGIS Pro. I've test driven it, and it really is kind of the same program, or it's really kind of a combination of the different platforms that are, or Pro modules, I guess, right? Arc modules like ArcMap, ArcCatalog, ArcScene, ArcToolbox. Now these are all integrated into one interface, and that's what ArcGIS Pro is. It works a little bit differently, but it's really the same car. It has the same features, same motor, all of that as well. Now there are some quirks to it. And particularly transitioning over when you're using data that you used before, it may not work unless you do some conversion. So we'll take a look at some of that. This is all part of our prototyping workflow. So this one's again back to the GIS software, and that's what we're going to focus on during this. And if you watch the navigating ArcMap or navigating ArcCatalog videos from before, I'm just going to use the same data from those to demonstrate ArcGIS Pro, and hopefully we'll be able to convert it all as we go along. So with that, I'm going to actually start in ArcMap. And I've got to share the screen here now for ArcMap. And so again, if you were familiar with the previous videos, then you probably recognize this data. Now I'm starting with ArcMap because we have to do something here to convert the ArcMap data for ArcGIS Pro. And the reason we have to do this is that this data was made with something called a personal geodatabase that is part of ArcMap. And this is being discontinued, and we're just going to use file geodatabases in ArcGIS Pro. So you have to actually do the conversion here. So don't unload your ArcMap, when you load up your ArcGIS Pro, because you may have to go in there and convert some things. Now, if you're using data from Microsoft Access, same thing. You're going to have to go through this conversion process before you'll be able to look at it in ArcGIS Pro. Now, here's the thing to know: it's the database formats that ArcGIS Pro cannot read. It's not the feature classes, it's not the shape files inside them. So you can actually, copy those, export that data out as separate shape files if you want as well. That's an alternative. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ArcCatalog here. And so I'm going over to the ArcCatalog tab in ArcMap. And what I'm going to do is I've got all this data I've got stored on my my hard drive here on my computer. Now, that would work very similarly if you were using a network location, but that's what I'm using here. And so I've got this queued up here. I've got my workspace GTK ArcGIS, right? And then there's different groupings of data. So I'm going to hit the little plus sign there. And all of these feature classes over cities, flight plan, countries are in this world personal database, MDB over here. And what I want to do here is create a new geodatabase. A new file geodatabase. So I go over here, right click, and we go new file geodatabase, and it makes that, it has a GDB, right, extension instead of the MDB. And let's name this something. The old one was named World, so I'm going to call this one New World, like we're going from the old world to the new world of ArcGIS Pro. And what you'll see is there's nothing in that right now, right? And so, you know, if you want to add things to the, move these feature classes from the world personal geodatabase to the new file geodatabase, you can just grab them and it will put them in the new world. You have to say, okay. You can also do this. I'll show you here in a minute. Oh. I'll show you here in a minute. If you don't want to drag and drop each one, or if you have a lot of them, you can just right click on there and you can go import multiple feature classes. And then this just brings up our little toolbox there. And I don't know why the tab keeps going away, but you would just input all your features there at one time, and it would do essentially the same thing. And so now what we can see here is we got a file geodatabase, cities, countries, and disappearance areas, right? Now we also have some layer and shape files down here. We don't need to do anything to them because they will be able to be displayed and added in the new ArcGIS Pro. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing ArcMap now. That should be all we got to do in ArcMap. And now I'm going to screen share. If I can find it, ArcGIS Pro. Okay, so here we are in ArcGIS Pro. There's nothing loaded right now, so you're just seeing the blank user interface here. And one of the first things that you're going to notice here that is different is that instead of creating a map file, we're going to make a new project. And this is very similar, I think, you know, if you're used to working with, you know, a lot of programs in Windows that have this sort of, it's like Microsoft Office, right? It has this sidebar. And so here we go. And you say a new project, well, what's it going to be? And, you know, there's several things you can choose from, but we're just going to go with map here. And then it asks you, okay, what do you want to call it? Okay, so let's just call it New World. And then it's going to ask you where you want to save it. And of course, you know, again, this is I think set by Microsoft. It wants to put it in your documents. I hate that. Just my own bias. I like to control where I'm saving the things. I don't want them just dumped into a big, you know, garbage folder. So I'm going to my local disk here, and I'm going to go to that workspace, and I'm going to save it there. There we go. And it will create a new folder for the project in there and say, okay. It's going to think about it for a minute. Okay, and there you go. And so now what you're going to see here is that it brings up a blank map, and it has the table of contents over here, like ArcMap did. It has the map view. It automatically brings in some base map information, a topo map, and a hillshade map. I'm going to turn those off for right now. And you'll also note now that you've got a ribbon up here with commands as opposed to the toolbars that we were using before. So they've reformatted this. I'm an old school. I like the toolbars. It just seems like I could load up way more things and control what was being displayed. These ribbons sort of drive me nuts because I can't ever find anything. And a lot of times I have to do more clicking to get the same thing done. That just could be an old man complaining here, but we'll do the best we can with this. Now, one of the interesting things that you're going to see here is in your primary display here in this map display, there, there's tabs. And so we can open up multiple maps, multiple layouts, and all at once. And I do like this, right? I mean, and so like we can have a layout view open. I'm just going to open up a letter format, right? And so now you see the layout view, and you can go back and forth between the map and layout view. So that's all good, right? And so maybe I should add some data here because you really can't see anything. Over here on the right, your ARC catalog is displayed, and this will actually sort of rotate around depending on what you're looking at. So if you want to keep ARC catalog open, you can tell it to float, okay? And then so now we got a floating window here that won't go away if something else is open. But you can also dock it back where it comes from. So, and as you'll see here, we can also have a window open in the main display that is an ARC catalog window. But what you're going to see here is you got your project is the default, and when I created this project, I don't really have anything added in here, right? So I need to go to my computer, and I actually think this works pretty well too, pretty kind of better than the old way from ArcMap. So I'm going to go to Workspace, and I'm going to go down to my GTK ArcGIS files. Here's chapter 3, right? And then in my data, well, there's my new world geodatabase. And so the conversion worked, and I'm just gonna select all 3 of these and drag them over here, and voila, right? And you can move things around, add things, to your file. Now here's some layer files. Let's go ahead and add those too while we're at it. Get them all over here. Yeah, all right. And you just things are again in the contents displayed by the order that they are displayed from top to bottom, right? So the topmost layer is on the top, and then things go down like that. And so you probably recognize this map. At least I hope you do. From before. We can turn layers on and off, like we want to turn the countries off or the diverging flight paths. We can change the names of things. So if we right click here, you get, just like in ArcMap, you get a context menu. It's a little bit different. They've changed a few things around. It really is just where what they've just changed around is the order of some of the things and the name of some things. But we still got, you can get to your attribute table, it joins and relates, zoom to layer, symbology, all these things. Now, if I hit properties here, you'll see again this data. In the old ArcMap, you got a dialog box with a bunch of tabs, and this has sort of been changed now. So it has a sidebar menu on here. So if I want to change the name of it, I just type it in here. So, certain things have been moved around. Some, so the general properties, the source properties, joins and relates, some of the things that we found in tabs are still here, but other things have been moved. And you will see that like the symbology will open up over here, where the catalog is, and display and labeling are moved different places, right? So like you can see up here at the top, there's labeling, there's feature layer, there's data, right? And so again, nothing really new here. It's just they're just in a different place and they're displayed differently, All right, so let's see here. Let's say, I want to change some of so on the known flight path, let's say I want to change that symbology. Again, if I double click on it, it will bring this up, and you can change, the stroke, You can change the color. So like, let's say we want to make it red, we hit apply. So again, this is very similar to what we had before, right? I don't think you're going to see much change here. You can close that down. We can change the symbol for the cities that Earhart visited. I thought we could. There we go. I must have just single clicked, but we can change the color of that. I think like kind of a pink color. You can pick different styles again. So it looks different, but it's not, right. It's the same. It's just, then of course now I'm going to change the color back again because I changed it already, and it's kind of small. So here I can change the size. There you go. Right. So I think you get the idea on this. It hasn't changed drastically. I'm just changing some color here just to, give you. Oh, and it looks like I accidentally changed the stroke color or the outline color to the same as the fill color. So that's good. Always good. There we go. Yeah, so that all works in the same fashion. Now, if I go up here and click on the map ribbon, I just want to demonstrate here how we can navigate a little bit. So it's a little bit different. So we've got this explore button up here, okay? And a lot of your navigation tools are now built into this. And it's nice. They do give you, like, if you put your mouse on that, it gives you a nice little indicator. Says, okay, here's what you do. And this is going to be kind of, I think, a little hard to describe on a video, but you can see I have the little hand here as my cursor. Okay. And so if I want, if I put it on City Earhart Visited, I can click on one and it'll bring up a pop-up that this replaces the old identify tool, right? So it's brings up the attribute record for that city, so I can, there's Karachi, right? It's in Pakistan, right? So it's the same data, again, just displayed a little bit differently. And if I want to zoom in and out, I have a 3-button mouse here with a wheel, and I'm just going back and forth on the wheel. If you don't have that, or if you don't like that, you can hold the right mouse button down and move back and forth, and that zooms in. And then the left mouse button, you hold that down, and that lets you pan, right? And so I actually think this works a little bit better than the previous interface. You can zoom to the extents there by going up to the ribbon. It also has a zoom in, zoom out, previous view, sort of thing. So they really, again, haven't changed anything, just kind of looks different. If you want to. Now, one of the things that is a little bit different, if you want to select and zoom in by a window, you hold down the Shift key, and then that brings up your little magnifying glass, and then you drag a window with your left mouse button, and that lets you zoom in there. So, it's not that difficult to navigate. Now, one of the things that again, it isn't different. If you right click on the layer and you want to label, you just hit label, and there, now it's labeled the names of the cities there. So I think you can see, I'm not going to go maybe necessarily through every single tool here, but it gives you an opportunity to kind of see things. Like over here on our diverging flight paths tool, if you right click on that, and zoom to layer, now it'll take you to that layer, and you can. It has features that I think you'd be very familiar for if you hit view, right? It has that magnifying feature, and it works a little differently. The magnifier actually doesn't move. You have to move the you have to pan, right, and get it into the magnifying glass. You can make the magnifier, you can change its shape, you can make it bigger or smaller, and you can change the magnification. We're going up in magnification. It has a navigator tool, which is kind of like Google Earth. It has all sorts of whistles and bells. But basically, you shouldn't really have difficulty navigating. It has bookmarks, so I'm gonna zoom in here on this little island, and that if you remember from last time is Howland Island. So if I want to, I click on map ribbon, and if I want to go to bookmarks, I'm going to create a new bookmark, and we'll call that Howland Island. We'll hit OK, right? And we'll zoom back out. And I'm a little crazy with the button there, but there's the other one. So we'll create one there too. This is the Kumaroru Island, if I'm saying that right. And there you go. And then if you want to access those, you just hit the little drop down. I want to go to Howland, right? So you can go back and forth and save your bookmarks. All right, now let's say we want to measure the distance there. We got our little measure tool. Again, it's a ruler. And they've made this, it works more like Google Earth, actually, right? And you can set your units. I'm going to set them to kilometers, and we're going to go from Howland down to the atoll down here, and you just double click, and then it says, okay, there you go. And I must have did something wrong, because there's no way it's 1.28 kilometers. Let's try that again. It looks like it's 770. There we go. I don't know what I did to get it so short. I must have added an extra click in there or something. Okay. Let's see here. Another thing that we do a lot is look at the attribute table. So I'm going to go here to the cities, and if you go and right click on it, we'll hit the attribute table. And this is another nice feature. It opens up the attribute table below the map. I'm also going to zoom to this layer because it's not showing anything right now. Up in the map view, there you go. Right, and so if I select Puerto Rico here, see how San Juan now is selected. Okay, there you go. You can, just like in the old ArcMap, you can change the size of the different fields. You can hide them, you can freeze them, move them around. It's all pretty standard fare here. And again, they made this work, a lot like Excel, and which is not bad. You can, if let's say we want to order them in terms of their elevation, sort descending. Yeah, so the highest elevation, 1,045 meters in Tucson, and it goes down from there. So lets us do that. We can also, if we right click on it, I can get the statistics, and it will open up. It actually opens up a little. Okay, so now that gave me an error because I only had one selected, right? So I've got to deselect that. Hopefully it'll work now. And there we go, right? And this is not the greatest example. I tell you what, let's go down here to known flight path and open up its attribute table. And see, we can have multiple attribute tables open. And now I'm going to sort this length and get the statistics from it. Yeah, that's much better, right? And so you can see at least it has some kind of distribution to it. So it creates a histogram. over on the right here in the chart properties, it'll give you statistics, and it'll show, you can turn them on and off: mean, median, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis, all the kind of usual statistical information that you might want to have on this thing. I think we pretty much covered that. So, what I want to do now is, if we want to get rid of the attributes tables, we just close them down. I'm going to go over to this layout that I imported, and there's nothing in it right now. So I'm going to add a map frame, and it lets you select. So like we can put one in here like so, right? So now we got a map frame in there. If you want a gradicle on it, right, you can hit grid here and get a graticule, and it'll add that on there as well. And so you just like in ArcMap, right, if we click on the layout view, you'll get a separate set of navigation tools, right? So you're going to navigate the paper just like you would with the tools in ArcMap. And then if you want to save this thing, you go over to project and save project, right? So all the work that we've done would be saved, right? So I think this will get you started. I'm going to do another video here looking a little bit at some raster data, some symbology and properties that'll take you to the next step. I'm not going to repeat every single lesson that I've done, but I want to do, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 till I feel like, well, I know enough that I can work this thing myself, and that you all are pretty much set up for it. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time.